Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Judy over there, Moss here. Welcome to Mondays with Moss. And by the way, thank you for your hitting likes and your comments and tuning in to kind of letting us know you appreciate this series on basically making relationships work. But I think what you and I are focusing on, sweetie, is not making relationships work. It's really how to make them not work by really getting caught up in what we call communication tangles, knots. Some people call them listening blocks. And over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about 4, actually.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about comparing you to another person. Why can't you be more alike? And you remember the one we did that first week that you did?
Why do you ask me that every time? You really don't remember.
I'm baiting you. I like doing that. Yeah. Do you want to answer?
Okay. Well, in one, I was distracted by my own thoughts. Once I decided that what you were telling me wasn't all that important and my survival was dependent on it, I sort of went off thinking about what I was going to do in my day and how busy I was. So we did that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we did mind reading. Okay. And then we did one of your favorites, which is judging.
Love it.
You do like to judge.
I love it.
Especially me. All right. Okay. So anyway, we have a 5th today. We're not going to do 2 today. We're going to do 1 because it's so rich. And we're going to do something called being right. I'm sure most of you don't have an attachment to being right. You know, it's okay if you're caught being wrong, saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Oh, what the hell am I talking about? Often I talk to my ass, I don't know what I'm talking about. You're right, I'm wrong. So I think, what do you think? Do you think being right is a big love tangle for people?
I think it can be a very big tangle, especially if you're insecure or you're arrogant. Or you're anxious. I think sometimes people deal with their anxiety by, throwing themselves into believing they're right about everything so they can control what's going on in their life.
So they're controlling their anxiety by being really attached to one-way thinking, I'm right?
I think so.
Oh, it's interesting.
It's one way to do it. Yeah.
How about the notion of if you've grown up in a family as a kid where you were criticized a lot, demeaned, or you went to school and you were taunted for being stupid, not knowing what you're doing.
Right.
And, could you see then as an adult, you decide on a formula for life called, I'm going to be right no matter what?
I can definitely see that because if you've had a lot of bad experiences that people have blamed you for being wrong or making mistakes, then being right is a strategy for being safe.
Yeah.
For keeping yourself safe.
Yeah. And by the way, the decision to be right may not be conscious, and it may not be like I'm going to get through life by being right, getting the evidence and proving that I'm right all the time. Most often it's unconscious, which just simply means you're not aware of the motivation behind it. You're just kind of in this pattern of behavior that has you. You're being right instead of just being, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. In fact, most of the time it doesn't really matter if you're right or wrong. It's just opinions.
Well, it is opinions. And often, by the way, you can't know if you're right or wrong until you see whatever the result of the decision that you made is. So you don't know going into a situation really what's going to be necessarily the best way to go. You're kind of judging. I mean, guesstimating, if you will. Okay, even if you seem very certain because of life experience. But it's only later when you look back and see how something worked out that you really know, was it a good solution or not?
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, good.
I'm right?
Well, maybe. Yeah, of course you're right. All right, so today we're going to do being right, all right?
Okay.
So I'll start the conversation, and Judy will do what she does, I'll do what I do. It's improvisation, so we don't quite know where it's going to lead, but let's see.
Okay.
All right, anyway. So let's assume one of our daughters is around 17,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to be taking her driving lessons to get her license. All right, and
Lovely day.
and I've been thinking about it, so I want to present something to Judy and let her know what I'm thinking. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Judy.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about something. You know, our daughter Laura is going to be 17. Now, she's not really 17 anymore because we're a lot older than that. To have a 17-year-old in her life. Well, anyway, so Laura's going to be 17,
Mm-hmm.
and she's been doing pretty well. Grades are okay, cleaning up her room. She's showing responsibility. And I've been thinking about when she gets her license, I think we should get her a car.
Most, I've already told you that's not a good idea.
What are you talking about?
I've told you more than once that it isn't a good idea to get a 17-year-old their own car. It's too much responsibility and it's too much freedom.
Well, maybe you can't handle it, but she can.
It has nothing to do with me. I'm her mother and I know what's right.
Oh, I see. So you're the mother and I get no vote?
Well, you can have your opinion, but, I know, like, my parents did not buy me a car,
Uh-huh.
and I was fine, all right? And she'll be fine, too.
What did you do, take the bus?
I took the car when my parents let me have it.
Oh, well, when I was growing up, I had to share a car, an old junker with my mother. She dominated taking care of the car, using the car. I couldn't go out on dates because she had to go to her night work at the hospital.
Oh.
And I'd often be stuck at home with my father, watching some stupid old fight game or whatever. And I think it's really important.
It's a bad idea.
I think it's really important for a teenager to have some control over her destiny, and I really think she should have her own car.
Well, I think you're throwing yourself into the mix. It has nothing to do with you.
Oh, you don't think you're throwing yourself into the mix?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It's an entirely different family. We're not the same parents your parents were. And even though we could afford to get her a car, it just isn't a good idea.
Oh, because your parents didn't want to or couldn't afford to get you a car, we should not get her a car?
No, it's not that they couldn't afford it, but they were wise. They were wise. It was a good decision, and that's what we should be doing.
They
for
were
our
wise,
kids.
so therefore I'm not wise?
I didn't say anything about you,
Well,
except I know what I'm talking about. And I spend more time with her than you do, and I know that it's a safer bet if we do not get her a car right now.
There you go again. Always wanting to be safe. Never giving a person the benefit of the
Well,
doubt.
it's my responsibility and yours to make sure that our kids are safe.
Oh, I see. What this is really about is I'm irresponsible and you're responsible.
I didn't say you were irresponsible. It's just that in this case you're wrong.
God, what's the point in talking to you? Like, you're so rigid. What are you like a Taurus that you have to be right?
I'm not a Taurus. I'm a Pisces, but that has nothing to do with it. In this case, I know what I'm talking about, and it is not a wise decision to give her a car.
What are you talking about like it's a fact of life? Rather than
Well,
your opinion.
It's the best decision, I can tell you
Oh,
that.
the best.
Yes.
So you get the gold medal, I get the silver medal, maybe the bronze medal.
This doesn't have anything to do with you. It's what's best for our child.
Oh, no, this is what's best. I think what's best for our child is to respect her being 17 years old. We're no longer living in the Stone Age like you grew up, and I think she should have a car.
I hear you. It's just that in this case, you're wrong about that.
I think you're wrong about it. And so I don't really want to talk to you anymore. I'm not getting any place with this. I'm just getting annoyed with you.
Well, that's not my fault. I can't help it. I've given a lot of thought to this issue, and I know what I'm talking about, and I want you to agree with me.
Well, I'm not going to agree with you. Maybe your friends will agree with you, but...
Well, my friends all do, by the way. I've talked to them about it. They all think I'm correct.
My friends think I'm correct, that a teenager who...
I don't know what you're talking about. You don't even have any friends that you talk to.
Low blow. Low blow. All right.
What can I say?
All right. Ding, ding. Go to your corners, everybody.
Right.
All right. So
I was really enjoying
I
that.
was too. It came kind of natural to us, didn't it? Yeah. So what was it like for you?
It just was, I was like so firmly entrenched in my position. I wasn't really listening to you.
Yeah.
I felt like you were babbling.
Yeah. For me, I was kind of caught up in fuck me, fuck you.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like, I'm not going to let you dominate me.
Oh.
I really got into this is no longer about our teenager. This is about you and me in a power struggle. A relationship communication love tangle, not a listening block.
It clearly was a power struggle.
It was a power struggle.
Absolutely.
See? So maybe, folks, that's what we demonstrated. What does a power struggle, a right, wrong, listening block, tangle look like? All right. So what do we do about it? I mean, how do couples handle being right, being wrong?
Well, it's interesting because I think it as a general rule. See, I'm right about this. As a general rule, okay.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about what we were doing is we were like speeding up.
Oh. Okay.
And as a general rule, I think when people get into differences of opinion, a power struggle, they do, the action speeds up. And so one of the things we could think about doing is really just slowing everything down.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing I was very aware of was I wasn't really listening to you at all.
I was listening
I had made up my mind.
Right.
And your opinion really did not interest me.
Right.
All right. It was just something to sort of bat away.
Okay.
As you brought up your objections to the position I was taking.
Right.
But I wasn't really interested or curious about why you felt the way you felt. I heard the story about your mother. I mean, I've heard it a million times. But I really kind of discredited everything you were saying in my own mind.
Good point.
Yeah.
So maybe what's key here is to recognize when you're in this kind of tangle, being right, because when you're being right, you're not listening, because I wasn't listening to you either. I was attached to my point of view, and we were positioned. And in a battle, trying to prove to the other person. And very quickly you move away from what makes sense to I'm right, you're wrong, or you're right, I'm wrong. There's no listening, there's no respect, and there's no taking the time to understand. So let's just kind of demonstrate briefly. Slowing things down, seeking to understand first.
Okay.
Steve, what was his name?
Covey.
Stephen Covey, I guess back in the 90s, wrote a book, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And I think one of the very first rules of the 7 was seek to understand first before being understood. It slows things down. It allows the other person to feel like, oh, I'm being listened to, not agreed with, but there's a sense of being valued.
Yes.
And maybe then the law of reciprocity kicks in and you give me the benefit of just appreciating what I'm saying without telling me I'm wrong. And then we could figure out where to go from there.
I think that would be more likely anyway.
All right, we'll try it.
Okay.
So listen, I've been thinking about something, and I feel pretty strongly about it. Laura's 17, she's doing well. She's completing her driving education program. She's going to take her test, and I think we should get her a car.
Well, I get that that's your, I mean, I've taken a different point of view about it, but I'm curious about why you think we should get her a car.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's I think it's a big thing. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
A car, even if we buy her a used car, costs money. We have to pay extra for insurance on the car, et cetera, et cetera. So why do you feel so strongly about it?
Well, first of all, I appreciate what you're saying, that it is an expense. It's a big responsibility. Insurance, I wasn't thinking about that. So thanks for letting me know that. I think I was thinking about it in terms of independence, giving her more control over her destiny. I didn't have that growing up. My mom was more of a micromanager, helicopter parent. So I was just thinking that this is a way of, and we have a pretty independent daughter. I thought it was a good way of being respectful to that.
Okay. Well, I have some concerns about it, though.
Oh, okay. Tell me what your concerns are.
Okay, so number one, when I was growing up, I mean, we had 2 cars in our family. My parents each had a car. Yeah. But neither myself nor my sister got a car. Okay. The first car I ever bought was the car we bought when we got married.
What was that, the Beetle?
No, it was the
Studebaker convertible.
The ugly Studebaker convertible. Anyway, So, I used my parents' cars when they weren't using them,
Yes.
which worked out fine. And we lived in the suburbs, so it was
Right.
a comparable situation to what our kids are in. And I feel like if she uses one of our cars when we don't need it, it gives us a little bit more control, okay, over when she has the car and over where she goes and what she does. So, and she's still only 17.
Okay.
So I don't think, having your own car gives you so much freedom,
I see.
right, that it does concern me.
Okay, so you think it's too much responsibility. She's only 17. We should maintain some control, knowing where she's going, and her having her own car may take her out of our comfort zone.
Well, I think it would definitely take me out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't have that comfort zone. I mean, to me, if she, I would like to be able to trust her. You raise an interesting question comes up, which is if she tells us where she's going and she goes someplace else, so that will take me out of my comfort zone because then I feel like she lied and taking advantage. So anyway, it's causing me some concern now. So I'm willing to further explore it to you. So how about if we kind of look at this as an exploratory conversation around she is growing up. We may have some differences of opinion about independence, control, responsibility. So I'm feeling a little tense about it, and I don't want to get into an argument about it with you at this point. I don't want to get into a right-wrong tangle with you. So let's take a breather and come back and revisit it.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what did we do there, Judy, that kept us out of a tangle and a knot? Maybe we didn't resolve the issue and come to terms, but what did we create here?
Well, one thing that occurs to me is like this conversation was much slower.
Yeah.
And we weren't interrupting each other.
Right.
So right there was more respect.
Okay.
In the conversation for each other.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know for my part, like I was really coming from a point of view of I was curious about why you felt the way you did.
I felt that.
Instead of
I got that.
discarding it as meaningless or unimportant. And so I think those were some of the key things that were different from my point of view.
Yeah. To give you some feedback, I felt respected. I felt you were listening. I didn't see the disdain in your eyes. I think I was listening to you and being respectful, but I could feel some tension in my body because I think there was a part of my mind saying, shut up, let's give her the goddamn car. What's the big problem anyway? Yeah, there was a voice in my head going that direction. I really had to consciously quiet that part down called my way. Maybe not the right way, but my way. But I'm really glad that we're developing this conscious relationship. We are aware of the danger of these communication relationship knots and landmines and tangles that really lead us into really painful conversations.
Yeah, and they're much more emotional too.
Yeah.
This conversation was less emotional and more logical from my point.
I agree. Okay, so what's left to now is we still need to resolve it because we're not resolved. But it doesn't matter. We don't have to be resolved because all I'm doing is expressing to Judy what I would like, not how it should be. She's telling me what she would like and her reasons, not how it should be. And that's a whole other variation on being right, how it should be, okay? And maybe another day we'll revisit it based upon some reflection, all right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that gives you a good picture and what it sounds like, looks like. We can't tell you how it feels like, that's up to you, about being right. So this week, our suggestion is try being right. Try getting into a discussion with somebody and being right, which means if you're right, the other person is wrong. So we're actually prescribing something negative to you. We're actually prescribing, try doing a communication tangle knot and see if you can get into a landmine and see how it feels, see how it thinks, see how successful you are. I don't have any confidence you're going to succeed. I think you're just going to generate bad will. Does that make sense?
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, I'm right about it.
Of course you are.
All right. Anyway, it's a beautiful day today. Hope you get outside, take a little walk. I'm going to take a walk. What are you going to do?
I'm going to work.
Well, I love that you're working. That's the right thing to do. Oh, okay. So anyway, great. Thanks for checking in. We see some names coming up. Good to see you. How do I say? I see Noel. Good to see you. Here you see your little picture, Noel. Great.
I know.
Anyway, if you like what we're doing, hit like and tune in with us for next Monday, where we'll give you another love tangle, communication roadblock, knot, landmine, whatever you want to call it. All right. But it's a way to really screw up your relationship.
You're right.
All right,
Have
folks.
a great day.
Bye-bye.